Hi, and welcome to the Field Report for April 18th, 2015. It really pains me to have read and viewed some of the news I've read over the last 48 hours, 72 hours. Let's just put it to you guys like this. The evidence that something big is happening in America is obvious. Now, what other people's opinions, that's bothersome. I've heard things like, that's just a drill. Well, you know what? We've seen over the last 4 years, for maybe 5 or 6 years, large amounts of heavy equipment being moved to different locations. We've seen FEMA camps, information about that. Okay, we've also heard about FEMA coffins being relocated to Puerto Rico. We've also seen news events where President Obama has met with world leaders, and it's been controversial. I don't know where to start. Israel, the controversy behind the Iranian deal, Obama going to Cuba. I don't know that Obama is the only person behind all the decisions. I think, yeah, he definitely has somebody behind him that like whispers in his ear. And I think that you could fill in the information as time goes on who those players are, okay? According to my worldview, and there's no distorting fact, this is an emotional topic for a lot of Americans. And when you hear a media that dismisses it, or, well, they just didn't get into this information, I guess they don't think that, I think that most people think they're immune to this information, or the ones that aren't paying attention don't want to pay attention. I don't blame you. Honestly, I can't envy anybody for not wanting to know this information. I certainly have no desire to know this stuff, but now that I know, I have to speak to it. I want to know why our Congress has set up a plan to cause America fail. Because, there were ongoing hearings going on about Benghazi. We never got to the bottom of that. We also never got to the bottom of, where do I begin? I'm just too emotional to even think right now. I guess what upsets me is that so much is going on. And, we shouldn't have to worry about our government making plans to have realistic training. That shouldn't even be our summer plan. I've lived in America all my life. I've grown up in a country where I never had to feel that threat or that concern. But I know now what tyranny feels like. I know what it goes to bed when the blood in my veins courses through my veins. The great concern, of course there's fear involved, but then I was told not to be afraid by some of my circle of friends who, are faithful believers. But you know what, personally? To tell somebody to not be concerned or not be afraid, that's just not realistic. How do I address this? How do I address it? And I pray, okay, and I do. And I know it alleviates some of the fear for time, but it's unsettling, and because I know that God is bigger than me. The outcome is not, I don't have an answer. I don't have a salt. I don't own a gun anymore. I had to sell it when I was going through a divorce. So I have nothing to defend myself. I have no way. All I have is like one voice. I'm a voice in the wilderness. I think about what a future in America. I don't know there's a future in America. But if there is, it has to change now. You can't wait till another election. I think we have been programmed to wait for the election to change things, or wait for elected people, when we can empower ourselves and start finding out what's going on. Talk to our neighbors. And you know how hard that is? Most of the guys that I've been talking the last couple of days, they don't even know what's going on. They don't watch the news. They're working. Most people are at best, are too busy working, too busy trying to keep up with their responsibilities. And it's not like they're intentionally trying to not listen and pay attention, but they wouldn't know where to start, much less be able to digest this information. So I pray for them. I do. The reassuring fact is there are a lot of believing Americans who believe in God, who also believe that the Lord will intercede in the end. But then I think there's the people that don't believe, that are weak, that would react. And my only suggestion is don't overreact. Of course, it sounds like a lot of fear porn, but there are some concerns. Let's not dismiss the fear porn, because I think that's a normal reaction, So anyway, covering a lot of topics, I also saw something really interesting. I've been hearing about this strange story about some people who've had this sleep disorder where they can't get up, they're really sleeping. And it made me think about the Bible scripture that God will cause sleep to fall upon some people. And I thought that was weird. I heard a story about it. I don't know where the article was. I think I glanced on it at the Drudge Report. I don't know. Just strange things are happening. And then when I see the Earth Science Space News, and I thought, well, what worse could happen? Asteroid will hit Earth and ba-boom. Oh boy. Let me tell you, I can actually laugh at this stuff right now. It's so bad that actually, could you imagine? I mean, the news is so bad that the best news would be that Planet X would knock out everything and Earth would just disappear in seconds. That's actually good news, according to the news stories. Now, really, the good news is Lord. Actually, these are all predicted in the Bible, too. And I'm not going to hammer away at that. I seem to hammer away at a lot of topics, but I had to make it available to you guys. You really have to make an assessment on how you digest this information. I'm just trying to offer an antidote, maybe strangely you can find some humor in this. I think sometimes that's a normal reaction. But I heard something really good, and it's probably information that's worthy to be passed on. Rebecca Roth was interviewed on Hagmann and Hagmann last night, and she answered a question actually that I had posted to the Hagmann and Hagmann, and it was regarding, you see so many things happen that you wonder if it's all intentional, and then because of the news is all man-made news. A lot of the Earth Science news, which I follow at the Field Report mostly. But see, where I find it collides, the information collides, is that you got no preparation for these space and weather events. Okay, we have more communication, access to communication, but we have less information being translated, and maybe people are afraid to pass that information on to their friends and family. I'm going to address that here. If you are afraid to share this information, here's the other alternative. If you don't share it, then and you assume that maybe your friends and family wouldn't want to know this, make that assumption. I mean, I would just take the risk and share it anyway. The risk of not sharing information is knowing that you could and you didn't. So I think a lot of people get afraid about sharing information. I feel like in their private little world that they don't want to open up this part of the conversation. But I think it's important to have that conversation. This is the time, there was a time when my parents said there is a time and place to have that talk. And this is that time to have a talk, have a serious talk. Take the people around you that you can trust with your private thoughts or feelings, or even the Lord first. Maybe that's where you should start first. But wherever, have that talk. Have that big, serious talk. There is a time and a place to have a serious talk. I think it's that time and place. Now, with that said, what I was saying is Rebecca Roth, she was talking about how we're all on different frequencies with God. Some of us just have really low faith, which really explains why the harmonics, which have a lot to do with our DNA, rhythm, balance, how we handle stress, coping mechanism. If you are a more angry, resentful person, you're going to be at the lowest level, where you're going to be more susceptible to disease, health problems, etc. Now, the more your faith, belief, your hope your barometer. You have like a barometer. Now, no one's denying that reality sucks. Okay, oh boy, but that's where your faith helps you overcome that, and the harmonics, that the balance between spirit and body, the thing that keeps us focused, able to recover from disease and illness quicker, is that when our spirit is elevated, that means our faith in Jesus, and we're praying and we have a more connection with the Lord, and our faith is increased, you have a better, you're able better to fight off disease and infections and recover quickly. And that's why they always said that people that were in a hospital that had a stronger faith had ability to recover quicker after operations. So I thought that was a really amazing way to look at how we position ourselves in life. Like, really, when you pull yourself away from a lot of the stuff that happens, how do you really feel? Do you feel tired, worn down, exhausted? That is that lower frequency, that harmonics in life, the balance between us and the Lord. If we are close in our walk and we draw closer and closer, we hide the word in our heart, we read the scriptures, we listen. Some of us don't have access to the Bible, but we can listen. We can listen to audio Bibles. So there's apps there. So access to that now is probably more important than you could ever know. But this is the ability to recover and overcome and be strong in the Lord. This is the time to do it. This is the time to have that talk. This is the time to kind of strangely find some humor. Again, laughter is another cure for the blot. So I'm just kind of throwing that out, and I thought it would be helpful that don't lose interest in the things that matter. Some, I think, of the news that you hear, it can take you away, it can pull you away from the things, but it's time to gather your thoughts again, regroup, and just breathe. Okay, so maybe this is more for me than it is for you, but maybe by me hearing myself say this, and you hearing me, we're not alone in this, okay? And I know the Lord has a plan. And I don't know what that plan is, but I really hope you believe. Because I need the reassurance too, I need to know that He's on our side all the time. And I know He is. But sometimes I even have my moments. So I know that's when I gotta double down and get on my knees and start praying. Well, signing off for the field report. I gotta get back to moving. God bless you guys, and good night.